What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the world according to Briggs. It is time to take a look at the countries with the harshest immigration laws. These are the countries that are the hardest to actually become a citizen of. There are hundreds of reasons countries have strict immigration laws or policies. Most of those reasons have to do with economics, taking jobs away from the locals, things like that. For whatever reason, if you want to become a citizen in any way, shape, or form in another place outside the United States or wherever you're coming from, there's going to be forms to fill out, waiting lists to get on, and in some cases, bribes to be paid. There are some countries that won't be on this list because you can't migrate to them, or it's just a place you shouldn't want to migrate to, or it's just a place you don't want to be a citizen of, like let's say Syria and North Korea. There also isn't any definite way to rank this one because they're all different. They all have their own policies and their weird little ins and outs to become a citizen or a naturalized citizen or whatever you're trying to do. So I kind of winged it in the order of which country has the toughest immigration laws, or is the hardest ones to become a citizen of. All right, let's see what we found. Number 10, China. The nationality law of the People's Republic of China allows foreigners to become naturalized citizens if they have relatives who are Chinese citizens, or you have another legitimate reason to want to seek naturalized citizenship or citizenship in the long run. And that one's up to their discretion. I mean, you could say I've got a giant business here and you guys make a lot of money off me, and they go, nah, we don't like you. Pound sand, pal. They could be like that with it. It's a judgment call for them. It's weird. If you don't have a relative who is actually a Chinese citizen, the chance of you becoming a Chinese citizen yourself are remote on a good day. According to the CIA, naturalization is possible, but it is extremely difficult. Long-term residency has requirements, but they're really not specific on them. They change all the time. It's really, really weird. So to actually say that it's like there's, you got to be a naturalized citizen for 5 years and then you can apply to become a citizen, there's nothing like that. You got to have a reason, and then they kind of just decide. Number 9, the United States. The United States as a country was actually started by immigrants. We all know that. And for a long time, we wanted everyone. It even said it on the Statue of Liberty. That was kind of the open door policy. Well, not really open door. You still had to apply and all that stuff back then, but we wanted everyone. The United States has been bipolar when it comes to immigrants. Some decades we want them, other decades we blame them for everything, from poverty, inflation, AIDS, and probably jock itch at some point. Since 9/11, the process has become more and more complicated as we've used immigration laws to try and protect citizens from harm. I'm not saying any of that is right or wrong or good or bad. I'm just explaining why. But I promise that won't stop someone from being offended. Never fails. Someone's always got to be offended. It's how people get their identity these days. It's how they get attention. That's how they get their feeling of self-worth, I think. Being offended. Weird. Anyway, unless a person is coming to the United States through a family member or an approved job, we actually have a list of jobs you can come here for. It is very difficult to establish legal permanent residency. There are different refugee categories that help people get their green card a little bit faster, and after that, you gotta wait on a lottery system. Those who have had permanent residency status for 5 years can begin the process of applying for citizenship by filling out an application and taking a test, which includes knowledge of the history of the United States and the government, and also of the English language. We want you to speak English, I guess, if you get here. And after all that, you must swear an oath to the Constitution. Now, we're not going to get into all the different illegal immigrations where you have people coming up from the South, or you actually have people coming from Europe and stuff that, they get here and they just overstay what their intended purpose is. Sometimes it takes us a long time to track them down, and they've been here for 10, 15 years. I know one guy that's from England. He lived here for 11 years. He had nobody back in England, and they finally caught up with him. They sent him back there. He didn't know anyone there. He's like, what am I supposed to do here? It was weird. He eventually made it back and went through the process. Number 8, Switzerland. Now you'll learn on this list that for some reason, the countries that are in the Alps really don't want people moving in. According to a law that went into effect in 2018, to live in Switzerland permanently, you must have lived in the country for 5 or 10 years and have had a working permit called a C permit that whole time. And they don't care who you're related to here. The C permit, which allows you to live and work in the country, requires 5 years of continuous residency in Switzerland for European Union, Canada, and US citizens. If you're from a country outside the US, Canada, or the European Union, you have to have a C permit for 10 years and not be convicted of a crime. And no, yodeling out of tune is not a crime in Switzerland. I don't care what you heard. It's just frowned upon. I actually know a girl that went to a yodeling class, like more than once. She wanted to learn how to yodel. She's from Beaverton, Oregon. Why do you need to yodel in the first place? And really, why do you need to yodel in Beaverton, Oregon? But I mean, everyone's kind of weird here. We're just outside of Portland, so that kind of makes sense. Yodeling kind of goes with the territory here, I guess. Number 7, Kuwait. Kuwait makes you wait for quite a while. In 1999, they passed a law really putting the clamps on immigration. It is called the Nationality Law of 1999. Here's how it works. After living in Kuwait for 20 years, 15 if you're from another Arab country, but if you're from the United States or something, it's 20 years. You can apply to be granted Kuwaiti citizenship, but only if you are a Muslim by birth or conversion. If you're converted, you must have been practicing for 5 years at least. I don't know how they know you've been practicing for 5 years. They take your word. Is there a test they put you through to see if you're a very good Muslim? I don't know. I don't know how they figure out how long you've been practicing. Anyway, you must also speak fluent Arabic. They don't cut you much slack if you marry a Kuwaiti man either. The law also states that the wife of a Kuwaiti man can ask to become a citizen after being married for 15 years. There's no guarantee to this one. It's another one of those things where it's a judgment call. I saw one video where they asked a Kuwaiti man, what if a man marries a Kuwaiti woman? Can he become a citizen in Kuwait? And the dude just looked at the camera very seriously and said, that's not allowed. Now, I did some research on that one. I couldn't find out if it actually was, but I think it's very frowned upon. Who knows? Number 6, the United Arab Emirate. The UAE is like a marathon when it comes to citizenship. They will let you apply to be a citizen if you have legally resided in the country for 30 years. Now that's according to the CIA website. If you're going to sit in that heat for 30 years, you better get citizenship. Could you imagine living there 30 years and then they say no? Then they tell you they're going to send you back to your family in the US. You're at the airport and you're like, hold on a second. I moved here when I was 40. I'm 70. Everyone I know in the United States is dead. Why are you sending me back? That'd be horrible. Anyway, federal law number 17, as it's called, states that if you're an Arab citizen from Oman, Qatar, or Bahrain, you can apply for naturalization after 3 years of residency. Arabs from other countries are eligible after 7 years of residence in the UAE. Now here's a twist. If you're a female citizen of the UAE, married to a foreign man, you can't pass citizenship off to your kids. Yeah, that sucks. Number 5, Austria. Austria, like most European countries, have some strict immigration laws. Austria likes to kick it up a notch with some extra hoops and one of the longest paths to citizenship. Everyone that's not a citizen of an EU country and plans on staying longer than 6 months has to have a residence permit before you even get into Austria. If you want to stay longer than 2 years, you must sign an integration agreement. Basically, you promise to try and be an Austrian, or at least like the Austrian people, by learning German and their social norms. Permanent residents must live in the country continually for 10 years before they're eligible to apply for citizenship. After applying, your chance of gaining citizenship are less than ideal. It doesn't happen too often. If approved, applicants must renounce any other citizenship, so there goes that American citizenship. Number 4, Japan. Japan used to be considered one of the easier countries to become a naturalized citizen. Things changed in 2009. What you need now is to be a professional. A university degree or a lot of professional experience in a field that they need will get you a visa in most cases, but most also require that you have a prospective employer as a sponsor. Residence permission is granted in periods between 4 months and 5 years, and it is extendable. Now, here's where it got weird. In 2009, they passed a law that offered unemployed Latin American immigrants $3,000 to leave Japan and return to their home country. Their family members were also given $2,000 for relocation. There was one catch to this, though. You only get the payment if you promised never to return to Japan to work. You could show up as a tourist, no working. Number 3, Qatar. They have a saying in Qatar. If your father isn't Qatari, then neither are you. And that counts even if your mother is. Only the father counts in this situation. Now, you can get citizenship, maybe. If you've been a legal resident in Qatar for 25 years without leaving the country for more than 2 consecutive months, you can apply for citizenship. The chance of you getting it are very slim. You can get work visas, that's easy. They don't really have much of a problem there, but actually living in the country long term, they kind of don't want you. Qatar naturalizes less than 50 foreigners a year. That's it, 50 foreigners. Naturalized citizens aren't treated the same way under the law as citizens born in Qatar. And this is because the country provides very, very generous government benefits that would be extremely expensive if they started handing it out to anyone that showed up on their shore. And trust me, if they did start getting it, more people would be showing up on their shore. Number 2, Liechtenstein is beautiful, small, and most people don't even know it exists. And I get the feeling they like it that way. They're so small, Google forgot about it when they started doing their street view thing. Yeah, they have no street view, just tourists who took pictures are on there. It's hard to get information on this country too. This is a little country in the Alps with the Rhine River flowing along its entire western border. They only have about 40,000 residents, and the country's immigration policies are kind of designed to keep it that way. If you want to become a citizen, you need to live in Liechtenstein for at least 30 years, with every year before you turn 20 counting as 2. So that's nice, you get a little credit for being a kid. If you're married to a Liechtenstein citizen and already live in the country, that time period can be shortened down to 5 years of marriage. If you want a shortcut from the 30-year residency requirement, you can ask the community to vote on you after 10 years. Yeah, they all get together in a little town hall thing and they vote whether to let you be a citizen or not. Kind of weird. But if you ever do become a Liechtenstein citizen, you gotta give up your old citizenship. Doesn't matter where you came from. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like it so far. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Vatican City. Yeah, Vatican City is actually a country. It's actually the smallest country on Earth. It's also the hardest country to become a citizen of. Vatican City has around 800 residents, with only about half actually being citizens. Now, there isn't a lot of ways to become a citizen here. You can't just decide you want to go there and become a citizen. You can only become a citizen in Vatican City if you are a cardinal living in the city. If you're a worker living in the city for the Catholic Church, you can also ask to be a citizen, but there's no guarantees there. I did read that the worker thing has a time frame, but I found different amounts of time, so it ranges anywhere from 10 to 30 years. So you got to be working for the Catholic Church for quite some time, then you have to ask to be a citizen, and then it's either yay or nay. There's no real way of telling how they're going to react. I guess you got to keep your nose clean and be a good Catholic, and you could stay in the big city, I guess. Who knows? But it is beautiful. If you ever get a chance, go by and see it. I don't even care if you're not a Catholic. Go by and see this place. They have tours. All right, that is today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Speaking of the information, when it comes to immigration and things like that, there's a lot that goes into it. I'm big time just brushing over it. If this is something you guys really want to look into, all these countries have websites. I would encourage you to take a look and see if it's something you want to actually go through. All right, everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.